Hi, Tiffany Earle here with the LEMI Homeschool Mentor Moment. Have you ever wondered how some people can read through masses of information and pull out the nuggets in a relatively short period of time? Well, today I'm going to cover the scholar skill of how to read a textbook or nonfiction book. The first hour that you spend with your textbook or nonfiction book is critical. Here's what you do in your first hour. You take your book and you get a feel for it. Sometimes you can even smell your book. That just triggers something in your brain. Then you go to the table of contents after you read the title and subtitle to get a feeling for what the book really is. This one happens to be Mathematical Tools for the Real World, Using and Understanding Mathematics. My college children use this book. I turn to the table of contents and I read every bolded chapter. And it gives my brain, it creates a slot in my brain for what the book is going to be about. Here's what you have to remember. Some of the words, you'll know what they mean. My 17-year-old, she knows what managing money means. But statistical reasoning, probably not. That's okay. Her brain will say, I think I know what that is. And on the other one, it will say, I'm excited to learn what that is. Or I wonder what that is. Either way, our brain will create a space and a filing place. So she reads through the table of contents. Then she goes to chapter 1. And in chapter 1, she goes through and looks at every graph, every picture, especially pays attention to something if it's bolded, and picks up some of the vocabulary as she goes along. She does this for every chapter. So let's start on chapter 1. Here we are, we're in it. Comes along, definition. Here's one on logic. Here's a definition of argument. Here's a definition of premise. So she goes along, just like this, goes through the entire book. This one might take even more than an hour. But either way, that time is really well spent because now her brain knows where she's headed and it saves hours and hours of time. Let me show what it's like in just a nonfiction book, the tipping point. Maybe you're at a friend's house, you pick up a book and wonder, what's that about? I do that all the time. Again, you read the title and subtitle, How Little Things Can Make a Big Difference by Malcolm Gladwell, one of my favorite authors. Again, you go to the table of contents and you read the table of contents. And when you're doing this, you notice what it makes you feel. Like when I read this part right here, the law of the few, connectors, mavens, salesmen. Connectors, I think I know what connectors are. Mavens, don't know that because I haven't read the book yet. Salesmen, I notice, I have an ick feeling. That's interesting. So I notice my feelings. I check in with myself and I wonder if I'll be able to change my mind. Or if I'll still feel the same way I feel towards salesmen. After I'm done going through the whole table of contents, I go back to something that caught my interest. It was chapter 3, the stickiness factor. I think I'll go and jump to page 89 for a minute and read about the stickiness factor. And then, if I am interested in the whole book, I order the whole book. And I always read with a pen in my hand and underline things that are interesting. If I borrowed the book, can't really do that. I'll have to use my classic bookmark, which I teach on another video. But here's something I underlined when I read this before. There is a simple way to package information that, under the right circumstances, can make it irresistible. All you have to do is find it. That's interesting to me. Okay, here's a book I got for my second son called The Life of Fred. It teaches fractions. So when it came in the mail, of course I did the same thing I do with all of my information books, nonfiction books, or textbooks. And that is that I go through the table of contents. It shows me what's going to be taught in this book. So I read through, look, this is going to teach about denominators, Roman numerals, adding fractions. Fractions means a divide. And then I go through, look at the pictures, look at the vocabulary, and I think, this is a book I want to spend some time in, or nope, this book isn't for me. This book happened to be a really great book for my son. All right, to boil it down, our minds are absolutely amazing. If we take time, the first hour or the first 10 minutes, depending on the type of book that it is, and we go through the table of contents and the vocabulary and the pictures and the graphs, then our mind knows where it's headed. It's created space and a filing system that we can retrieve from that saves us hours and hours in the later reading. Remember, like, share, and subscribe, and leave comments, especially if you have some inspiring stories yourself, or great books to share with each other when it comes to homeschooling our kids. It's always fantastic to hear from each other. Also, if you're interested, click below to learn how to take a training on the art of mentoring and teaching scholar skills. All right, see you around.